On January 3, 2026, the United States launched a major military operation against Venezuela in what became one of the most dramatic escalations in Western Hemisphere geopolitics in decades. As part of Operation Absolute Resolve, U.S. forces conducted a series of airstrikes across northern Venezuela, including the capital city of Caracas, using more than 150 aircraft from multiple branches of the U.S. military. The operation resulted in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, who were flown out of the country and later indicted in the United States. Explosions rocked Caracas in the early hours, and U.S. leaders announced that Maduro had been taken into custody and would face charges including narco-terrorism. The United States also stated its intent to run Venezuela during a transition period following the seizure of power. This was not a small raid. It was a full-scale assault involving air power, special operations forces, logistics, and intelligence. And the cost, both financially and strategically, was staggering. Modern military operations don't begin with bombs. They begin months earlier with planning, intelligence, and preparation. Command centers in the United States were activated, intelligence analysts worked around the clock, and satellite assets were retasked to monitor Venezuelan military infrastructure, communication networks, and potential targets. Every hour of work in those intelligence rooms represented real money being spent. Once the air campaign began, the financial scale became impossible to ignore. Among the aircraft dispatched were advanced fighters such as the F-35 Lightning II, which costs between $33,000 and $44,000 per flight hour to operate. That figure accounts for fuel, maintenance, specialized ground crews, and the wear of operating one of the most sophisticated combat aircraft in the world. For missions lasting multiple hours over Venezuelan airspace, each sortie could cost well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. These fighters did not operate alone. Long-range aerial refueling aircraft, including models like the KC-135 Stratotanker and KC-46 Pegasus, were deployed to keep U.S. warplanes aloft. These tankers themselves cost roughly $27,000 per hour of flight time, adding substantial costs to sustain air presence over Venezuela.
Subscribe and leave a like if you're enjoying the video.
Meanwhile, precision munitions were made ready for use. A single Tomahawk cruise missile, capable of striking strategic targets with high accuracy, carries a price tag of about $1.5 million. Air-to-air missiles, such as the AIM-120 AMRAAM, cost around $1 million each. Even if not all munitions were fired, their deployment, transport, and integration into operational planning contributed to the financial burden. But air power was only one component of the offensive. The U.S. Navy positioned carrier strike groups and other surface vessels in the Caribbean to support the operation and provide strategic leverage. Operating a carrier strike group, including the aircraft itself, its support ships, and air operations, can cost between $6 million and $7 million per day. Over the course of a sustained presence, these costs alone run into the tens of millions. Meanwhile, heavy transport aircraft like the C-17 Globemaster III were standing by to move troops, supplies, and equipment into position. Each hour of flight for a C-17 runs around $23,000, and missions into and out of Venezuelan airspace amassed significant expenses even before troops began ground operations. The most invisible but among the most costly aspects of the invasion were in intelligence and surveillance. Military satellites, which can cost between $1 billion and $3 billion each to design, build, and launch, were used extensively to track targets and monitor Venezuelan defenses. Ground-based analysts and cyber intelligence teams worked around the clock, interpreting data and guiding strategic decisions. Those operations easily added millions of dollars per day to the overall cost. Beyond equipment, there was also the investment in people. Training a combat pilot capable of flying in a high-stakes operation like the attack on Venezuela can cost between $5 million and $10 million over the course of their career. These pilots, along with maintenance crews, intelligence officers, logistics planners, and support personnel, represent a human cost that is baked into every military action. When all of these elements, aircraft missions, tankers, precision munitions, naval forces, logistics support, intelligence operations, and trained personnel are added together, the financial toll of the U.S. invasion of Venezuela runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars, even within the first days of the campaign.